This is the best thing to happen to Power BI. Now you can actually interact with your Power BI reports, make changes, ask questions, and create measures or calculations without digging through menus or writing complicated DAX code. This is exactly what Power BI MCP server helps you do. Hey everyone, it's Isi here, and in today's video I'm going to show you how it all works, how to set it up, and multiple ways in which you can use it to make your workflow much easier. Let's get started. Okay, let's start with the basics. What exactly is MCP? MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. I know that might sound a bit technical, but let me break this down into something much simpler. Think of MCP as a translator. Imagine you only speak English and your Power BI report only speaks computer language. Let's call it Power BI language. MCP is like having a helpful translator sitting between you and your Power BI report, allowing you to have a conversation or interact. MCP speeds up the work, especially for repetitive tasks or when you're prototyping ideas. So instead of spending 10 minutes clicking through menus to create a calculation, you can just describe what you want in plain English. For example, this is my Power BI report. I created this measure here to calculate the combined energy supply for the United Kingdom. I had to type this in. But let's say I wanted to create this same measure. All I'll need to do is go to VS Code and just type in create a measure for combined energy supply in the UK. So remember that this is the only one that we have right now, but I'm just saying that it should create the same measure for me, right? And then I'll just click send. Just give it a couple of seconds. It would come up with a prompt, right? So you need to allow this. Usually when you first install it, you'd have to go through allowing it to create the measure. So it created the measure and that is it here. So let's just go back to the Power BI report. So it created the UK combined energy supply. Previously, we only had the UK total supply. It's the same thing really. It just did the calculation very quickly instead of me having to type it in. There are two types of Power BI MCP servers. The modeling MCP server builds and modifies semantic models programmatically. That simply means it lets you build and change your Power BI models, including creating calculations, renaming things, building relationships, or creating relationships. And that's exactly what we'll be using today. On the other hand, the remote MCP server queries your data and generates insights from existing models. This just helps you with asking questions about your existing reports. And you might just be wondering, should I even really care about this? For instance, in this report that I have here, it's a really small report, nothing too big. There are just a few measures here. But imagine you had 200 measures, you were dealing with a larger report, and you had to rename every single one of them. You wouldn't go about typing the names. With MCP, you can just easily type in what you want, and then it can help you rename those 200 measures. So it helps you with saving time. For this to work, your admin would need to have enabled the setting. But let's say, for instance, you're using a free version of Power BI, you need to go to Power BI service, and then you go to the settings and scroll all the way down to admin portal. And you can just type in model context. And you have this setting here that says integration settings. Users can use the Power BI model context protocol server endpoint. Mine is already enabled, right? But you need to enable yours before you can actually use it and then apply the settings. Before we install anything, here's what you will need. You need your Power BI desktop. You will need Visual Studio Code. You can get that easily from code.visualstudio.com. So you can just click on download here. And then I have a Windows computer and I'm just going to install it. Just go ahead to install that now. So let me just go to where it is and just double tap on it. Okay. I just need to accept the agreement, just go through everything, accept the agreement and install. Next. I want a desktop icon, so I'll go with creating a desktop icon here and then I'll install it. I had to uninstall the one I had previously, so I'm reinstalling it now. So just give it a couple of seconds. So I auto-selected launch Visual Studio Code and just finish. Once you open Visual Studio Code, you see a lot of things happening, but it's nothing for you to worry about, right? Already logged in here, but usually you would have to log in with your maybe GitHub. That's what I have logged in here. Now you need to come to the extensions in Studio Code here and type in GitHub Copilot. Once that comes up, you'd see this extension here. All you just need to do is click on install. Okay, it's really quick. It just installs like immediately. And then the next thing you need to install would be the Power BI MCP server. Okay, install here and just install. Once you have installed the GitHub Copilot and MCP server, you'd see a chart here, right? all you need to do is just click on it and it opens the GitHub Copilot just by the side for you. If you want to click on a new chart, you can just hit the plus button here, but we'll just keep it this way, right? And we can expand this as well. Okay, we also need to open up our Power BI report. So this is my Power BI report. It's just a simple dashboard on energy analysis between Canada and the UK from 2000 to 2024. So once you have both of them opened, let me see if I can put them side by side. So now they are side by side. The first thing you want to do is connect GitHub Copilot to your desktop, to your Power BI desktop. So you must have had your report opened, and the way to do that is just a slash then Power BI. So that's Power BI connect dash desktop. So once you've done that, you just need to click on send here. Or just to note, it's in agent mode now. You want to keep it in agent mode for using the MCP. And there are also different AI models that you could use. I prefer Claude, but you can use any and you can just keep it on auto depending on what you prefer, right? So let's connect. So it then asks you to allow, you just need to allow to make sure that it connects. So it would keep giving you prompts and then you just need to allow. And then it says, great, I found two Power BI desktop instances. Let me connect to the one with the energy generation analysis. And that's the one I wanted to connect to. So I'll just click on allow again. And it says here that it has successfully connected to Power BI desktop and it gives you just a brief information. And then it asks you, do you want me to list out the measures? Do you want me to explore the schema? Do you want me to run DAX queries? So there's multiple things that you can do here. Now that it's connected to the report that I wanted to connect to, we'll go in with the first use case. So the first use case is to ask questions in natural language to get insight. So the first thing I'm going to do now is I would say, what is the renewable energy percentage or energy share for Canada in 2020? So I'll just click on enter and then it will ask you to allow and then allow again, allow. So you just need to make sure that you click on all the allows so that it would generate what you're looking for. So here it says that the total renewable energy share in 2020 is 16.8%. I have this calculation here, and then if I go to my dashboard and I select 2020, what I have as well is 16.8%. But that's the reason why you can always cross check with your dashboard as well, just to make sure that it's all correct, because like you all know, AI can definitely make mistakes, right? Let's try something else. Let me say, show me top 2 energy sources for 2024 in the UK. So we're back to allowing it again. So because I typed UK and in the data set it's United Kingdom, it's saying that there's no data, and then it's saying, it's United Kingdom, not UK. Let me query that again. Okay. So it says here it's natural gas and oil products and gives the value for the two of them. The next use case would be to auto-generate documentation. So creating documentation automatically, and documentation is something everyone knows that they should do, but nobody wants to spend time doing that because it can be boring and it does take some time. So with MCP, we can do this. What we need to do now is to type in this command. I'll provide all the commands in the description of this video. So that's the / then Power BI -document -model, and then just click on enter. So we need to allow again. So we have to allow all of this. So it generates this. It says allow edit sensitive files, and then it saves this file. The model wants to edit files outside of your workspace. Do you want to allow this? And then it provides the Power BI documentation, the name, the tables that are there, the data source, the year range, the countries, the date table, and the type. And then it provides the measures as well and their description. So just full on information. And this is me saving the documentation, and it shows me where it has been saved to. So let's click on that and see if it takes us anywhere. Okay, so this is the documentation here. Let me just expand it. It gives everything that I need, and it's already formatted for GitHub. If you copy this and paste it into one of your repositories, it's just perfect and good to go. So let's go back to this. And that's the second use case. You can use this for documentation. Now on to the third one. The third use case is to bulk rename objects. Let's say you have multiple measures and you want them to start with maybe total or sum, or you want to just standardize everything. You can use this to bulk rename your measures or your tables. So let's do that. So I'll rename all UK measures to begin with. Let's do total. One thing I need to say is that this would definitely break your report, but I'm just going to do it. Let's do total. So once again, just allow the request, and then it says respond, and I'm just going to say yes. So allow. So all the UK measures now, here you can see total, still working on everything. Okay, so everything has been changed from UK to total UK, and you can see here that it totally breaks the dashboard. So I'm just going to remove total from all UK measures just to get my dashboard working properly. So the moment I allowed, my dashboard began to work properly. The fourth use case of MCP would be to create multilingual reports. Let's say your organization of in multiple countries and you built a report in English, but now you need versions in Spanish, French, German. Translating everything manually can take days, but with MCP, it's surprisingly very easy. So I'm going to type in now, translate all my table names, column names, and measures to French or into French. Okay, let's see. I'm sure it's going to break this report, but so now it would go through the entire model and ask you to allow it to process this, and then it would change it. So all of them now, I'm just going to allow. All the measures have been changed, the table names, the column names, everything has been changed to French. I'm going to revert that back to English now. Just going to copy all of that. Gradually, we're getting back to English. So we're back to English now. The fifth use case of the Power BI MCP is to create time intelligence measures. So let's say year over year, year to date, month to date. For this, I'm just going to create year. Let me just minimize this for fossil share in Canada and United Kingdom. So I'm just going to accept. Okay. So it's created here. So we have the can fossil for percentage year over year and then UK. So let us do this to test and see what happens. I'm going to maximize this so that we can see clearly. I'm going to add the fossil for percentage year change. Let's add that to this card. I'll just go to reference labels here and then I'll add the Canada fossil for percentage year over year change. So let's add that and see. So minimize this as well. So here we have for Canada between 2004 and 2003 here is minus 2.1%. The next use case would be to create a relationship between two tables. So right now we have a relationship between the combined energy supply table and the date table. I'm going to delete this. Okay, that has been deleted. I'll go back to GitHub Copilot and then I'll just say create a relationship between combined energy supply table and the date table using date. So I'm just going to click on enter here. So it says here the error persists. This appears to be a model consistency issue. So go to model view, right click, select manage relationships. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this and I would say create a relationship between combined energy supply table using the year column and date table using the date column. Let's see if that would fix it. Okay, so I'm just going to allow that. It says here that the relationship has created. So let's see if that worked actually. I'm just going to refresh. And yes, we have the relationship created. The last use case for this video would be for data quality checks. So using MCP for data quality checks. So I'm just going to say, show me all columns with blank values. Tell me how many blank each has. So just do that and send that. So for the combined energy supply table, it says that there are 0 blanks for every column. So there's no blank at all. But if you had a table that had blanks or columns that had blanks, it would definitely show you those. All right, let's recap what we've just covered. We learned what Power BI MCP server is. We set it up in VS Code with GitHub Copilot and MCP server. And then we looked at use cases such as asking data questions in natural language, auto-generating documentation, renaming, bulk renaming, and translating your model into multiple languages. If you found this valuable, hit that subscribe button. Each of these can save you tons of work. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comment section which of these use cases you have found most helpful. And don't forget to share and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.